Hello, the state television company Western Armenia represents the most important news for today. Western Armenia is a historically and legally established geographical term. Western Azerbaijan is a false invention by Aliyev. The protection of the historical culture and religious heritage of Artsakh, holding COP29 in Baku, was a shame for the world. Armenian-Turkish dialogue interview with the Turkish politician. The youth of Javakhk. Books of memory and lost villages in Western Armenia. Events dedicated to the 100th anniversary of Sergey Parajanov in Belgrade. Nikol Pashinyan's public speeches are often dominated by anti-ideas aimed at the destruction of national thinking, ideas and value systems. In a recent interview on Armenian public television, he stated that using Western Armenia is as harmful as the term West Azerbaijan, trying to equate these two completely different concepts. Western Armenia is a historical, geographical, and today, like a term that has been used for centuries, and Western Azerbaijan is a fictitious concept created by Aliyev. This comparison shows Pashinyan's continuous attempts to distort our historical memory and value system by portraying the Armenian people as defenseless and weak. On 21 November, the Europeans for Artsakh platform convened an online meeting with the participation of representatives of the Armenian communities of England, Germany, Cyprus, the Netherlands, the Czech Republic, Belgium, Switzerland, Sweden, Denmark, Bulgaria, and France. Martin Oskanyan, coordinator of the Artsakh National Assembly Committee, and Armine Alexanyan, a member, were also present at the meeting. Martin Oskanyan noted the main goal of the committee is to pursue the right of repatriation of Artsakh Armenians on international platform. The participants emphasized raising and pursuing the issue as a mandatory norm of international law. The protection of the historical and cultural heritage of Artsakh and the need for a pan-Armenian military movement were highlighted. It was noted that the Armenian authorities ignore this issue. As a result of the meeting, it was decided to continue the work, maintaining constant contact with the committee and coordinating the initiatives. The 29th World Summit on Climate Change held in Baku on 11 November became a vivid example of international duplicity and multiple standards. Azerbaijan, which depends on oil and gas export, used the climate conference to cover up ethnic cleansing, a dictatorial regime, and crimes committed against the indigenous Armenians of Artsakh. Greta Thunberg strongly condemned the decision to hold the UN conference in Baku, calling it a step of greenwashing. This opinion was also shared by the European Parliament and many organizations that demanded to cancel the selection of that place. However, representatives of more than 100 countries of the world took part in the event, mostly avoiding addressing the internal affairs of Azerbaijan. With the absence of the leaders of the leading powers, the Baku platform became a symbol of international indifference rather than a solution to climate changes. The settlement of Armenian-Turkish relations has been a complicated and controversial issue for many years due to historical pains and political uncertainty. Within the framework of the dialogue process started with the appointment of special representatives, the website The Armenian Harbor initiated a series of interviews, including the views of Armenian and Turkish political and public figures. You can read the full version of the article on the Western Armenian website. Within the framework of the strengthening of civil society for equal and full participation in social, economic and political life project, the problems and ways of self-realization of the youth who returned to Javakhk were discussed. Participants of the meeting were young people, representatives of non-governmental organizations and experts in the field of education. They discussed the problems in the field of education, including the difficulties of teaching the state language and the pros and cons and the 1+4 program, which was introduced for the ethnic minorities. You can watch the details of the meeting in the video. On 14 November, Dr. Khachik Muradyan's lecture was presented dedicated to the lost villages of Western Armenia and the Book of Memory. The lecture, which was based on Muradyan's extensive research, represented memory books as literary genre and art and part of historical heritage. Muradyan emphasized that the memory books were an attempt of genocide survivors to preserve their lost homeland, even if only on the page of the book. These books, called memoirs, were often written by fellow villagers reconstructing the history, life and culture of the villages. During the lecture, Muradyan also touched on the lack of women's stories in these books. He noted that women's names were often forgotten in historical materials, which is a memory gap. On 23 November, event dedicated to the 100th anniversary of Sergey Parajanov took place within the framework of the 14th Belgrade Film Festival. The events were organized under the patronage of the Ambassador of the Republic of Armenia on the occasion of Parajanov's jubilee. The diplomatic relations between Armenia and Serbia was the initiative. This was all for today. I wish you good weekends.